All right, so here I have my Apres French Manicure Sculpted Coffin long nails that I'm going to use in order to demonstrate how to use this line from Apres. I have my Young Nails acrylic and cover rosebud that I'm going to use in order to do just a simple layer of dip powder before I do the gel. My nails have issues with fully adhering to gel. So I did get this trick from YN. They advise you just do a simple layer underneath gel in order to create a rough enough base for the gel to adhere. I'm just showing you the conversion base that I just got from their BOGO sale. I have their protein bond that I'm going to use. This stuff is a miracle worker. As well, I am getting my cuticle pusher that I recently got from Sally's. It has a spoon on the end that makes it perfect for dipping the acrylic or the dip powder out and spreading it over your nails. All right, so I have my UV light and we are going to get things started. So I don't necessarily file my nails a whole lot simply because they are in a state where they are trying to recover from bad habits of popping nails off. All right, so I'm just going to go through and apply the dip powder. Apply the protein bond to prep my nails for doing the dip powder. I just go through one hand at a time and just do each nail, trying not to oversaturate it because it will cause lifting. It will cause the nail not to adhere. Of course, if you flood the cuticle, if you get any of this on your actual skin, you guys can see I have a son. My son's in the back playing, so you just see him pop in and out. Just excuse him. He likes to be a part. All right, so I'm just gonna let that get tacky, let it sit for a moment. So I was contemplating doing my other hand, but I just decided to go through, and once I did this part, I just went and did my right hand on camera. I'm actually left-handed, and everyone asks, how do you get so good at doing your non-dominant hand? It takes a lot of practice. Practice. So I'm just showing you how my nail looks in the camera and how I apply it. I normally try not to apply it backwards because that will actually lead to flooding in the cuticle area, since the product is going to be more so prone to run back. But for sakes of seeing it on camera, and since this is my actual first video, I'm still learning, so just showing you how it looks. I have a nick in my thumb where I actually had a massive amount of layers come off, so it's kind of rehabbing. So there we go with the protein bond, a nice thin layer on all nails. Next, we're going to do the conversion base, and this is the same procedure. We are going to do a thin coat of the conversion base, and then we're going to cure it, and then we're going to do another layer and put the dip powder and cure again. All right, so you'll see me just very gingerly apply the gel. I don't do a heavy coat, I do it very thin. I don't want to flood my cuticle area, and I don't want to put too much gel that's going to cause a heat spike. So I just try to spread out the gel as much as possible. And of course, if there's any issues, we're going to go back in with the second coat to do the dip powder, so it would make it even as best as possible. So then we're just going to do the thumb. Put a nice little amount and spread it. Make sure to clean up any sides. If you see it attaching to any of your cuticles, any of your side walls, you just want to make sure you clean the gel polish off and you put it inside the lamp. I believe I put this inside the lamp for about 30 seconds. And then I do the second coat. And when I do the second coat with the acrylic, I actually cure it then for a full 60 seconds. Of the gel on my nails, and now I pull over the dip powder. So since this is a dip powder I only use, you'll see the method that I do. Normally if you're working in salon or if you're working and doing someone else's nails, you wouldn't do this. But this is the way that I do it because these products are only being used on me. So I get a nice amount of the conversion base, and I put another layer on top. So you can see I'm going in, cleaning up my sidewall, making sure that when I do it, it's not going to attach or adhere, because trying to get this off after it cures or even while you're doing it, it's going to actually then definitely cause lifting. And I just take a scoop and I pour it over top of my nail, try to get as evenly as possible, and then I tap. If I see there's any spots that are shinier than others, as you'll see, I'll go back over top of it and I'll add some more and tap. Once I get as much sheerness as possible, well, if I get to the certain level of opacity that I want, I'll move on. As long as there's acrylic on the nail, so that way when it cures, it'll harden properly. That's the most important thing. Instead of the shine being removed from the gel for the acrylic. So I'm moving on to my next finger and I'm doing the same thing. So you'll see me scooping and reusing it. Normally, whatever product that doesn't make it on your nail, you would just leave it, unless you have a scooper or unless you have one of those bases for the dip powder where you can reuse it. So this isn't something that I would necessarily do on a customer, because you just don't want to recontaminate whatever's touched the nail and missed it, just for hygienic purposes. You just wouldn't want to do it again. So now I'm looking at it and just checking the opacity to make sure that every spot on the nail has the acrylic on it. Again, this is why Young Nails acrylic is not their dip powder. It's not their conversion powder. It's actually their acrylic powder and dip powder. For most intents and purposes, is exactly the same. To my knowledge, the dip powder is just finer grains of acrylic. It's not as coarse, but they both work the same exact way as putting a hardened layer over the nail. And Young Nails just has the most amazing color for covers. I recently got their Rosebud, I got their blush cover, I got Peach, and I got Earth during their end of the year sale. And then they had the buy one get one sale that just passed for their Protein Bond, their Ultimate Finish, their Conversion Base, and I got the grab bag. So it came in handy because I was running out of conversion and I did not want to pay the extra amount on Amazon to get it sent in 2 days. But one thing I did find out is that when Young Nails has a sale on their website, normally the items on Amazon as well goes on sale. So that's just a little bit of an FYI that I've found out from recently using their products. So now I'm getting my thumb and I'm doing my final thumb. You just have to be careful. I do believe I've nicked a couple of my fingers. Normally at this point in time, if I had a client, I would have had them flash cure their hand for about 10 to 15 seconds just to make sure that it's kind of set. So that way when we move on to the thumb, we're not hitting the other fingers. Again, it is because I'm left-handed, so some of my techniques are they could be a little clumsy. Just a little clumsy. I don't know if clumsy would be the word that I use, but they're not as finessed as they could be from someone that's predominantly right-handed. So I'm just going over again and just doing, see, I just nicked it. One final go over. And normally with it, because it is gel, you can kind of just with a light tap smooth it out, but nothing to be too serious about, seeing as how you're gonna move on to the next step of the process. So I put it in and let it cure for the full 60 seconds. As it's curing for the full 60 seconds, I've already had my tips already measured and off to the side off camera where you can't see. So I don't show myself measuring, but you do want to make sure that with these nails, you do have the right fit from sidewall to sidewall. The actual Apres Instagram account has a lot of tips and tricks up there for if you have someone that has a curved nail that doesn't fit, about filing the bottom to make the tip actually fit better as well. So they'll give you little tips and hacks about rolling the form, about filing it down in the back to make sure it fits the cuticle area. It's a lot of tips and tricks that are out there. You just have to kind of search for it. So once it's cured, then I get my manicure brush and I just brush off the excessive dust that's there, and just try to make sure I get in the nooks and crannies, any kind of places that are hidden that could cause lifting. So you can see me doing my thumb, and I make sure I get all in the little nooks and crannies. So that's how it looks with just the one layer, the conversion dip, the conversion powder, and Young Nails acrylic and rosebud. I just put the light on so it'll make it be brighter so you guys can see. So now I'm going to go to the next step, which is to use the Extend gel I got in the color Sasha by Apres. So what this requires is that you put a thin layer on your actual nail as the first base to adhering the full covered tip. So I'm just going to show you. At this point, I would have already put another coat of protein bond over top of my acrylic. And so you'll just see me get the brush out, try to thin it as much as possible. And you'll see me spread the gel from nail to nail and then go back and thin it out. Only because their Extend gel tends to be pretty thick, and of course once you add the color it gets thicker. So just for tips for a beginner, if you don't have like an extra gel brush laying around to use, you could just put a drop on one nail and then on another nail to kind of spread the gel out, and then go back and thin it and work it how I'm doing. So that way it doesn't deal with you having an excessive amount or too much or spilling or anything that may, if you don't do the acrylic dip base, that won't cause like a heat spike for to happen from just the abundance of gel sitting on your nail. So you can see it's just a very, very thin layer of the Sasha Extend gel by Apres. So once I have all 5 fingers done, I've put them, I'm going to cure them. And so I'm just showing you guys what the tip is. I'm doing the long coffin. So I have already cured my right hand. And I'm going to start off with my pinky. That is a size 7. I put the protein bond on the inside. I do not have their, they have a actual primer themselves that's used that'll etch the bottom to make it rough. I have not had the chance to use it, so I just used what I had on hand, which is the protein bond, because actually while doing this, my drill had a short in it, so I had to order another one off of Amazon. So this was just like since I had already started my nails, just to get through, I use the protein bond. I filled it up to the line that I wanted it to do. I did a thin layer, as you can see, and then I dropped a little dot of the gel at the end. I'm pushing it down at the 45-degree angle. So this was actually a learning curve for me to see how this worked and how it spread. I did have a mini attachable LED lamp that I did attach to cure it at the top. So when you do the extend gel and color, you're supposed to cure it at the top for 10 seconds and then underneath. And then you're going to go back in with a small liner brush or a detail brush and fill in the space and fill in where you want the line, well, the color to stop to make the base of your French. So here you can see me curing, make sure my side walls are cured, because it did take a little bit of time. It took a little learning curve for me to try with this. It's not like their regular clear where it just spreads evenly. With the color, you have to make sure you get the right opacity, as well as that you don't have like a spot where the color is thinner in one area and thicker in the others. So I did look on their Instagram and their YouTube page, and they did have a video showing it. And so you do just want to make sure you get enough cure to actually adhere the nail. And this is why you go back in, and you're going to see me do this and fill it in with the liner, so that way it doesn't cause the blotchiness from you having the colored extend gel thin in the back and thick in the front, or spillage. So you just do it enough just so that way you can get the nail to adhere. And then you can see me taking a small liner brush I got off of Amazon and just filling in the bottom and making sure that it's to the line that I want. So when I did it more of a square shape than a round shape, because I wasn't quite sure which line I wanted to go through. It just depends on the design I'm going for. If I want something to make my nails look longer, I may do a higher arch. If it's something that I want to do more of a square, I may do a lower arch. So I went through and I did all 5 nails, and I'm showing you guys the end result of it, of all 5 nails. And then this is the end result once I put the color and the jewels. I did use their pink from their Holland collection that I believe is called Poppin' Party. It has beautiful coverage, beautiful opacity. I'm showing you guys the underside of my nails with the color. So that was my experience using the Apres GelX French manicure line. I'm loving the line and I'm feeling it. I'm still rocking the set. I just received the square long, and I'm dying to try those. So we'll just see how long I can hold out with these nails on my hands, because I normally do my nails about every 3 to 4 days. I know it's just like a walking billboard for me. So I love to change my nails up. But hopefully I can let these stay on for 2 weeks and see how long the wear is. Thank you for watching my video. Hopefully there's be more to come in the future. Please comment, like, and subscribe, so I can grow my YouTube page and you guys can go on this journey with me. Thank you and have a blessed day.